Picture this. In the early 2000s, Naval Ravikant hits it big with his first startup. He's on top of the world. And then bam, he loses everything to a corporate betrayal. But here's the crazy part. That devastating moment, it became the foundation of his greatest creation. Today, we're going to unpack how that single event led him to write a whole new playbook for winning, not just in business, but at the game of life itself.
And listen, this isn't just some dramatic intro. It's the literal origin story for a philosophy that has completely changed the game for a whole generation. I mean, can you imagine? Pouring years of your life into something, finally tasting that success, and then having it all ripped away. Not because you failed, but because the system was rigged. That moment of betrayal forced Naval to look a broken system in the eye and say, nope, I'm building a new one. A fair one, for getting not just rich, but truly fulfilled.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the betrayal that started it all. Then, we'll dig into the hunger for freedom that fueled him. After that, we'll explain the Naval Rule itself, look at the dual system life he lives, see how he rewrote the rules of tech, and wrap up with how you can find your own path to freedom. All right, let's dive into part one. So let's set the scene, right? It's the early 2000s. The dot-com bubble just burst. Chaos everywhere. But against all odds, Naval had built a super successful company called ePinions. Things were finally looking up. But that's when the system he was playing in decided to show its teeth.
So a corporate merger basically stripped him of his entire financial stake. And this wasn't just some bad deal, it was a real injustice. The way the deal was set up, he and his co-founders got nothing, zero, while the venture capitalists walked away with millions. The real gut punch, though, wasn't just losing the money. It was the realization that the whole game was rigged. The system was predatory. But that betrayal? It didn't break him. It actually gave him a mission. He was going to understand the rules of power so well that he could rewrite them completely.
Okay, so moving on to part two. To really get why that betrayal hit so hard and changed him so much, we have to rewind, way back. See, his drive for freedom didn't start in some fancy boardroom. It was forged in a tough childhood, full of scarcity, just trying to find his place in a brand new world.
He immigrated from India to Queens, New York when he was just 9, and life was not easy. He grew up with very little money. His mom worked multiple jobs, which meant he had to be self-reliant from a super young age. But the real turning point, the moment that changed everything for him, happened in high school. He was working a catering gig and found himself serving food at a party for a wealthy classmate. That feeling of shame, of being an outsider in a world defined by status, it became this incredibly powerful catalyst for him.
And that single experience, right there, is where his whole philosophy really clicked into place. He saw that most people are playing what he calls the status game. It's a zero-sum game. For me to win, you have to lose. It's all about anxiety and needing other people to tell you you're good enough. He decided, right then and there, he was done with that. He was going to play a totally different game, the wealth game. Now, this isn't about being flashy. It's a positive-sum game. You create value for people, and they give you assets that earn for you even when you're sleeping. The goal wasn't status, it was freedom.
All right, part three. So you take this deep hunger for freedom, and you add that painful lesson from the betrayal. And what do you get? Well, Naval set out to create a new set of rules, a system for escaping the rigged game and building something real. And that system became known as the Naval Rule.
And the core principle is super simple but so profound. Seek wealth, not money or status. Okay, we've talked about the status trap, but what's the difference between money and wealth? It's huge. Money is what you get paid for your time. It's temporary. Wealth, on the other hand, is the asset. It's the business, the code, the investment that keeps working for you 24/7, even when you're not. Wealth is what buys your freedom. Money's just a tool to get there.
His whole philosophy really stands on three main pillars. First up is leverage. That's the engine that gives you power. The second is specific knowledge, which is where you get that leverage in the first place. And the third, and maybe most important, is peace. That's the ultimate goal. See, this isn't just about getting rich. It's a system for being happy. Let's break each one down.
So, what exactly is specific knowledge? This is so important. It's not what you learn in a classroom. It's that thing that is uniquely you. It's built from your genuine curiosity, your obsessions, the stuff that feels like play to you but looks like work to everybody else. You can't really teach it because it lives at the intersection of your natural talent and your passions. That's your secret weapon, because nobody can compete with you at being you.
And this quote right here, "Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want," just perfectly captures that third pillar, peace. Think about it. After you've built all this wealth, what's the point? For Naval, the end game is inner peace. He sees desire as a choice to be unhappy. If you're always chasing the next thing, you're never actually free. So true freedom, it's an internal game. It's about mastering your own mind.
All right, so we've got the philosophy down, but how does that actually work in real life? This is where we get to the practical stuff in part 4. Naval lives by this incredible two-part system designed to do two things at once: build power in the outside world and create peace in his inside world. So he literally splits his focus into two systems that work together. There's the external system, which is all about building real-world power through smart, high-leverage decisions. And then there's the internal system, which is all about cultivating that mental stillness and peace. And here's the kicker: you can't have one without the other. Power without peace is just a recipe for anxiety and burnout. And peace without power, well, you're just at the mercy of the world. You gotta build both.
So how does he build that external power? He follows what he calls the compounding decision protocol. First, he only focuses on a handful of really high leverage decisions, the ones with massive long-term impact. And how does he get good at that? This is the secret sauce. He reads foundational stuff, science, philosophy, math, for an hour every day. But he reads slowly. The point isn't to rack up a book count, it's to deeply understand core principles. That sharpens his judgment, giving him these incredible compound intellectual returns.
And then there's the internal system, which is just as disciplined, if not more so. This is all about forging a resilient, peaceful mind. He meditates daily, not to clear his mind, but to just watch his thoughts without getting swept away by them. He practices gratitude every day to break that cycle of always wanting more. He even actively gives up desires. And he does things like take cold showers to train his mind to handle discomfort. It's like a workout for his brain.
Okay, part 5. So you might be wondering, how does this super personal system of habits and philosophy end up changing an entire industry? Well, this is where his own pain transformed into a platform that would help thousands of other people. You can really see his whole journey right here. It all starts with that brutal betrayal in the early 2000s. But that pain led to a huge insight. His specific knowledge about how venture capital really worked was his power. So in 2010, he used that insight to co-found AngelList, a platform that completely democratized startup investing. It flipped the whole system on its head. And now, he's evolved from founder to philosopher, a guide for a whole new generation of creators.
When you look at his legacy, it's not just about one company. It's about the blueprint he created for everyone else. He's the one who really championed this idea of permissionless leverage. What's that? It's using things like code and media, tools that anyone can access, to build something massive without needing anyone's permission. You don't need a factory, you have software. You don't need a TV network, you have a podcast. He literally gave us the map to achieve financial and personal freedom in the digital age.
Okay, last part, your path to true freedom. We've gone through the whole story, the philosophy, the systems. So what's the big takeaway here? What's the one crucial lesson we can actually use in our own lives?
Honestly, it all boils down to this one question for you, and I want you to really think about it. What is the skill you are irrationally obsessed with? Not what's trendy, not what you think you should do. What's the thing you can't stop learning about? The thing that feels like fun to you, but looks like work to everybody else.
Whatever just popped into your head, that is your specific knowledge. That is your superpower. It's the unique foundation you can build on. So the next step is simple, but not easy. Build a scalable system around it. Use code, use media, use whatever tools you can get your hands on. Turn that obsession into an asset that works for you.
You know, when you look at everything Naval Ravikant has built, it all comes from one profound truth. The external world is a choice, but the internal world is a skill. The Naval Rule teaches us that, yeah, leverage creates wealth, but it's peace that creates real, lasting power. His entire life's work boils down to one simple, unshakable idea. True freedom is owning your time and your mind.